So last month, I attempted something that I've never done before. Something that even to start, you would have said was crazy. It was more mentally challenging and physically exhausting than any Ironman I've ever done, than any ultramarathon I've ever done. Welcome to this week's vlog and my attempt at the Calendar Club Running Challenge. So the Calendar Club Running Challenge is something I don't know who started, who came up with. I actually didn't do that research. I saw a few people, runners that I knew, who've attempted it during the pandemic. Jesse Itzler did it, and I've only heard of really a few other people doing it. Basically, it consists of running whatever day it is of the month for 1 month. So on the 1st of the month, you run 1 mile. On the 2nd of the month, you run 2 miles. On the 10th of the month, you do 10 miles. On the 30th day, 30 miles. 31st day, 31 miles. So I attempted this during March, a month with 31 days. Obviously one of the hardest months to do it in, because you can pick months that have 28 days or 29 during leap year or 30. So when you do this challenge in a 31-day month, if you complete it, you are running 496 miles in 1 month with no days off, no rest. The last 10 days of this challenge, you average a marathon a day. What makes this so much tougher than anything I've ever done is it's not really a sanctioned race. There's no prize, there's no medal at the end, there's no crowd cheering you on. It's really just, can you get up every day and run that mileage? It doesn't have to be all in one run. So, for the first 2 weeks or so, normally I would knock it out in one run. For the last half though, I was doing 2, sometimes 3, even a couple times 4 runs a day, just getting the miles in when I could. So there's no one out there supporting you, really cheering you on. It's as much of a mental challenge and logistical challenge as it is a physical challenge as well. So I'd been thinking about doing this challenge for probably about a good 6 or 7 months, but you have to get the days right. Everything has to kind of line up. Right, so if I had anything going on, basically the second half of the month that was, intense with work, family, travel, I didn't consider it for that month. So obviously with, November, holidays at the end of the month, December, holidays at the end of the month, January, the baby was due during the second half of the month. In February, I had a ski trip, February 9th, 10th, 11th, and, in bitter cold and traveling and being with just my 5-year-old, I knew that would be almost impossible. So March was the first opportunity I had really ever since I set my sights on this to attempt it. And the challenge, started off fairly simple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing really too challenging until I got to about day 10. And then around day 10, I had a trip to DC. So I had an early morning flight, a full day of meetings. I had to get up at 4 a.m., get a bunch of miles in, finished them up the rest of that day, and that trip went well. Right, that was my first time that it was really out of routine or something that required a little bit more planning. So around the halfway mark, the mileage starts to get serious. I had another big challenge. I had to go up to Orlando for a quick 24-hour business meeting, look at some properties, meet with some real estate agents and builders, and that was tough. I got the mileage in on the travel day up there early, but I had to stay at home, couldn't leave till after dinner, help get the kids to bed, all of that. So that meant getting there late, not getting a lot of sleep, and then having to get up early to crank out a bunch of mileage before a full day of meetings, then driving home. And I didn't get all the mileage in that morning, so that meant I had to drive home late evening, 3-hour drive, come home and still run for an hour or a little bit over actually. That's when things really started to get tough. At that point I had about 2 weeks left and fatigue was starting to build up. You're running a half marathon in the morning and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 miles at night. I really told myself too going into this that I was gonna stay just as involved with my family and being a father and a husband, so I did not give up or pull back in those areas of my life. I really, part of the challenge to me was, can I do this and still do everything I should as a father, as a husband? So we started to hit, 20 miles, 21, That was a tough day, especially. I had to T-ball early with my son on a Saturday morning, so there I am, getting up early, getting in a half marathon of running, doing T-ball, getting the kids down for nap time, and still having to do nearly 10 miles in the afternoon. So at this point, it's just all about getting work done efficiently, spending quality time with the family, getting the running in whenever, wherever, however you can, and really, this really heightened my senses to the importance of nutrition, sleep, and recovery. Those are areas that often get neglected, right? It's easy to put aside stretching, doing things that help you recover, getting the sleep you need, but really to put in that kind of mileage, you had to focus on recovery. The crazy thing about this challenge is how backloaded it is. So, when you hit the halfway mark in terms of days, right? When you're like at day 15, 16, you're only about 22, 23% of the way done in terms of mileage. You don't even hit the halfway point of mileage until you get to around day 21, day 22. So that means half of that 496 miles is coming like in the last 10 days. It's just a crazy amount of over endurance, and like super fatigue type running right at the end of it. And there was a point in those last 10 days where I think I got done at 11 o'clock at night and Carrie was still up and my feet were just chewed up. I mean, I had blisters on over half my toes. It was hurting to put my shoes on. I'm like, I just don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. I mean, how am I gonna do, 8, 9 more days of this with more mileage? Feet are just at a breaking point, and I'm draining blisters after every run practically. And Carrie gave me the option to quit. She actually said, look, if you want to stop, I'll just tell people that I needed too much help with the kids. I'll give you a way out. It was tempting for a second, but I wanted to persevere. I wanted to see if I could do this. The next day, I actually got out a razor blade, a box cutter, and started cutting holes in different parts of my shoes, areas where the blisters were hurting, and that actually helped. That gave my feet some relief. And I kept pushing through. Some nights, I wouldn't get done until after 11 o'clock, not much time before the deadline. And then somewhere in that last week, when I had about 5 or 6 days left, my running pace started to go up. I actually broke through some barriers that the fatigue had caused and started running quicker miles and started getting done earlier in the day. And that actually helped me a lot because I was able to get the miles in quicker and start running in some of them at 9-minute pace, which is fast for the amount of running I'm doing. And so that really helped. I started pushing, getting a little bit more efficient towards the end, really focused on the recovery, doing my Theragun, my Normatec boots, ice baths even, did one with Braden. So really dialed in on recovery. And I got to where there was a couple days left, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it to the end of this. And I decided on that last day, I want to do all 31 miles. I want to do all 31 miles in one run. So I started early, set up multiple hydration packs. So on the last day, I planned a 31-mile run, just over 50 kilometers. So definitely well into ultra marathon total, which by the way was like my 6th day of marathon plus distance in a row. And I got a hot day. It actually got up to about 90 degrees that day, so super hot day. And I already had 460 something miles in me. And I set it up so I did multiple laps, came by the house a couple times, ran north on the beach, south on the beach, hot as could be, as much fatigue as I've ever had in my legs, and probably the slowest marathon or 50K I've ever run. But man, was it rewarding to get to the end, and the kids had made some signs, and so I did have a supporting crowd of about 5 or 6 people, which was pretty cool. My dad was there, and it was just a huge accomplishment, something different than, like I said before, different than any ultra marathon or Ironman, not a sanctioned event or even a sanctioned thing, or no crowds out there, but it was just a challenge mentally, physically, emotionally. Can you do hard stuff? Can you push yourself when no one else is there to push you. And I think more than ever now that when you can do new challenges, when you can figure out how to push yourself in a way that you've not been pushed before, it builds up muscle. It builds up your emotional and mental capacity to do things that you haven't done before, and that helps you in all areas of life. It helps you in business. It helps you as a family member. It helps you, as a spouse, as a friend. It helps you physically. It helps you in so many more ways. So if you want to experience a breakthrough in all areas of your life, pick an area where you can do something new, where you can find a challenge that you haven't done before, one that scares you, and go do it. So let me know about what you've done to challenge yourself, to push yourself. Leave it in the comments. Let's help support each other. Click on that subscribe button if you haven't, so you don't miss out on this vlog or any other content I'm putting out on this YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.